Hello and welcome to Foreign Dispatches, the program that takes you around the world in 25 minutes. I'm Layo Adegoke. On the program this week, nations continue to find ways to curb the spread of the Omicron variant with travel bans, even as the World Health Organization advises mandatory vaccine should be the last resort. Plus, Angela Merkel bows out as German Chancellor after 16 years as the country's first female Chancellor. A World Health Organization official says existing vaccines should still protect people who contract the Omicron variant from severe COVID-19 cases. This comes as the first lab tests of the new variant in South Africa suggest it can partially evade the Pfizer jab. While there have been concerns about the efficacy of existing vaccines to the Omicron variant. In the meantime, the World Health Body says countries should be cautious in mandating vaccination, as this should be the very last resort.
As more countries consider making coronavirus vaccination mandatory, the World Health Organization has cautioned that inoculation mandates should be seen as absolute last resort.
Mandates around vaccination are an absolute last resort and only applicable when all other feasible options to improve vaccination uptake have been exhausted. They have proven effective in some environments to increase vaccine uptake. But the effectiveness of mandates is very context-specific.
During a WHO briefing, the regional director for Europe adds that while the Omicron variant is in sight and on the rise, it is the Delta variant that is the problem in the region right now. More and more countries in Europe, including Germany, are debating whether to make COVID-19 vaccinations mandatory after Austria announced in November it would make inoculations compulsory as of February the 1st next year, prompting large protests.
Ultimately, mandates should never contribute to increasing social inequalities in access to health and social services. Any measure that may restrict a right or movement of a person, such as lockdowns or mandates, needs to assure that mental health and well-being is cared for, that a means of prevention, early detection and management of domestic violence is in place, and that microeconomic support is available to those most affected.
In the UK, new rules for people travelling to the country have come into force to limit the spread of the new Omicron variant. From today, all travellers aged 12 and over will have to show proof of a negative PCR or lateral flow test, even if they are fully vaccinated, taking no more than 2 days before departing for the UK. There are currently over 430 confirmed cases of the highly mutated COVID strain in the UK, and this has made Londoners roll up their sleeves as a COVID-19 vaccine booster program picked up pace following the emergence of Omicron.
We're starting to see people who I think are probably anxious about the new variant that's come across, and we've started to get people coming for their first and second jabs that they could have possibly had months ago, but as people's anxiety is clearly rising, we're seeing a big increase in the number of walk-ins that we have through the centre.
In France also, people living in the southeastern suburb rushed to get booster shots ahead of the Christmas holidays and impending restrictions due to the Omicron variant. One of the creators of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine is warning future pandemics could be even more lethal than COVID-19, and so the lessons learned from the outbreak must not be squandered, and that the world should ensure it is prepared for the next viral onslaught.
There will be a disease Y. This will not be the last time a virus threatens our lives and our livelihoods. And I'd like to finish on a high note, but the truth is the next one could be worse. It could be more contagious or more lethal, or both.
New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio says he plans to issue a COVID-19 vaccine mandate for private sector employers that will go into effect from December 27th, calling it a preemptive strike.
All employees and patrons, everyone 12 and up, to be vaccinated, at least one dose, that's indoor dining, fitness, entertainment. That's worked brilliantly. It's been a tremendous success. There was a lot of concern about it at the beginning. In fact, it has been an across-the-board success with very few problems. You know, there's been a few challenges, but not many. So we now are going to deepen that effort by requiring all employees and patrons to have, from 12 years old and up, 2 doses. And that will take effect on December 27th. Because the idea is everyone by that point who has gotten their first dose, if you've gotten your first dose by now, you're going to be able to get your second dose by then.
While some New Yorkers embrace the vaccine mandate, others have doubts.
We are a free country. I think everybody is, entitled to their own opinion. If we are going to be mandated to have the vaccine, I think our freedom is being suppressed. So that's just basically my opinion about this whole thing.
I think its mandate is great. I think our goal here is to keep the positive rate down as much as we can. I believe COVID is going to be around for a while, but I think the most important thing we can do is getting vaccinated and have masks everywhere as much as we can.
More countries have reported their first cases of the Omicron variant in less than 2 weeks after the new coronavirus strain was first reported by South Africa. Russia on Monday reported its first confirmed cases of the new Omicron variant of coronavirus, same with Croatia, Nepal, Thailand and Argentina. In East Africa, Uganda has become the first country in the region to detect the Omicron variant of the coronavirus. In the meantime, a major British study into mixing COVID-19 vaccines has found that people had a better immune response when they received a first dose of AstraZeneca or Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, followed by Moderna 9 weeks later.
When it comes to antibodies, it was really the RNA vaccines that seemed to be most immunogenic. And if you want to choose between them, then actually overall, we seem to see that Moderna was more immunogenic than the Pfizer vaccine. That's a higher dose of RNA vaccine in that, so perhaps that wasn't surprising.
The study also found that a first dose of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine, followed by any other candidates in the study, generated a particularly robust response consistent with findings in June.
Angela Merkel of Germany has ended her tenure as Chancellor after 16 years in office. Olaf Scholz has now been confirmed as the new Chancellor for the country, leading a three-party government that takes over from her. He was voted in by the German parliament, where his coalition has a substantial majority. Well, the handover of power marks an end to Mrs. Merkel's 31-year political career. It's the end of an era, as German Chancellor Angela Merkel in October moved from center stage to the visitors' gallery in the German parliament. Merkel watched the inauguration of the next German parliament from the visitors' gallery hours before becoming acting chancellor until she handed over the reins for good on December 8, 2021. As the 736 deputies elected the Social Democrats' healthy policy specialist Barbel Bass as their new president, Merkel observed the plenary hall as a guest who is no longer a part of her conservative CDU fraction, now in opposition. For Merkel, the September election marks the official winding down of her chancellorship. Germany's first female chancellor, who went from being Kohl's girl to the heights of global power, Angela Merkel has stepped down after 16 years as German Chancellor. This was the moment when Merkel moved into Berlin's Chancellery as Germany's first female Chancellor 16 years ago.
A warm thank you, and you can be rest assured that I will take good responsibility of this office.
During her tenure, Merkel is said to have adopted a pragmatic, problem-solving approach to government, guiding Germany and Europe through the Eurozone crisis, the 2015 migrants crisis, and the COVID-19 pandemic. The 67-year-old Conservative steered Germany through Britain's vote to leave the European Union, the election of Donald Trump as US President, the corona crisis, and this year's catastrophic flooding. Considered the strongest leader in Europe, Merkel has equaled her mentor Helmut Kohl's mammoth 16-year run, having already overtaken Britain's Margaret Thatcher as the longest-serving female governmental leader in European history. Surrounded by unpredictable strong men around the world, Merkel also is famous for her calm, unruffled demeanor on the world stage, her trouser suit jackets often the only flash of color in a sea of dark suits at global summits. On December 2nd, Germany's military honored the outgoing chancellor with their highest ceremony for a civilian, playing an eclectic mix of music of her own choosing that has intrigued the nation. In the Großer Zapfenstreich ceremony, pared back due to COVID-19 restrictions, the Bundeswehr Staff Music Corps played a hymn, a 1960s song that includes the words "I can't acquiesce, can't make do, I still want to win," and a 1970s punk rock hit. The hymn, "Holy God, we praise thy name," is a nod to Merkel's Protestant upbringing. The 60s song, "Red Roses Are to Rain for Me," perhaps reflects her youthful ambition, while the rock hit "You Forgot the Color Film" was first performed by East German punk artist Nina Hagen.
It's now up to the next government to find answers to the challenges that lie ahead of us and to shape our future. For that, dear Olaf Scholz, I wish you and the German government, led by you, all the very best, good fortune and best of success.
In her valedictory speech, she says the next government now has to find answers to the challenges that lie ahead of Germany. After 16 years in office, Merkel is now succeeded as Chancellor by Social Democrat Olaf Scholz. Two more lighter stories on the program. Women and girls with reduced mobility suffering from vitiligo and visible burn spots, as well as cancer patients, take to the catwalk in an event to battle misconceptions and empower women with disabilities in Tunisia. Take a look.
Elegantly strutting on a catwalk in the Tunisian capital, women with disabilities and cancer patients dazzled audiences in a fashion show aiming to battle misconceptions about beauty standards. "12 women and young girls, including cancer patients, people with disabilities, patients of vitiligo and visible burn spots, participated in the second edition of the Rak Malak, or You Are Beautiful fashion show organized by Rotary Club Tanit Carthage.
Rak Malak is an event for women with cancer, with a physical disability, or any woman who feels different, but in fact, she is not different. The event is a fashion show where we bring fashion designers and beauty specialists to dress and do makeup to them, to go out to the red carpet in the presence of their families and the people they love.
Twirling in colorful and trendy designs, the models exhibited their outfits in the backdrop of a 20th century palace in Tunisia's Sidi Bou Said. Among the participants is 40-year-old Miri Zakria, a model with burns, whose accident in 2009 has seen her battling social stigma ever since.
I was very happy with the event, and the atmosphere is beautiful. All the people are happy. We want to show society that everyone who has an accident, no matter what the accident is, has the right to live, has the right to be integrated in society, and is a human being like everyone else. There is no difference.
The event is organized to empower women with disabilities and fight the stigma that discriminates against people living with one condition or the other.
When Foreign Dispatches returns in just a moment, we'll go around the world to bring you Christmas cheer as the earth lights up for the most wonderful time of the year. Please stay with us. You're still watching Foreign Dispatches on Channels Television. As cinema returns to Somalia, an upcoming film, Ayan by film director Ahmed Farah, is riding the wave. The new 90-minute film, for release in February, will be the first film screening for 3 decades in Somalia's war-ravaged capital, Mogadishu.
This is the new film Ayan. The story is set in Nairobi's suburb of Islay, home to many Somali families, and follows a Somali actor dreaming of a breakthrough in Hollywood, but who is frustrated that he's only ever cast as a pirate or terrorist.
Action! Do you believe your cause is justified?
He ends up impersonating a member of Somali's Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab insurgency to scam $500 from a gullible Western journalist. After the scam TV interview, he becomes entangled with the police elite anti-terrorism unit. The new 90 minutes film is due for release in February, and it will be the first film screening for 3 decades in Somali's war-ravaged capital, Mogadishu. Somali-Dutch director Ahmed Farah wrote the movie based on scams he saw while working as a news cameraman for international TV network.
I came across a lot of interesting stories. Stories that you hear when the camera is off. And for those years, I used to collect those stories, and some of them were even better than fiction. And those stories happen different places in Africa. And I wanted to tell a story that people, especially from same background, same region, can identify with. So I had to find, how to put that all together and make a movie out of it.
Stay strong, brother.
It took Farah 8 years to write, finance and shoot the movie, and the Islay community rallied around the film by donating refreshment or home-to-use assets. The police helped by offering cars and let Farah into the local jails as a replica set. U.S. Somali actor Bakar Duraman, who acted in Hollywood movie Captain Phillips and starred in Kenya's Oscar-winning short film Watu Wote, plays Ayan. It says most of the crew and actors had experienced the kind of police harassment shown by the film, and many were nervous about publicly acting like terrorists, especially when police were around.
We kind of had that situation, and when we were filming in Islay, there were a scene where we were portraying as Al-Shabaab members, and some of the cops was taking photos, and the cast were very uneasy, and I can sense it. So I asked them what's going on, and they were like, if those cops took our pictures and later when this film is done, they will come and interrogate us and put us in jail, whatever, the same situation the main character Ayan went through.
For Farah, the most exciting thing about the movie is the blossoming of Somali cinema and the chance to show more than pirates, refugees, militants, and war.
And finally, let's go now to see beautiful and colorful city shots around the globe as the world lights up for Christmas. The Omicron variant is not dimming this year's good cheer. It's Christmas time and the Yuletide season is alive and well at the Jerome family's home in Rintel in the northwest German state of Lower Saxony. While most Germans head up the ladder to get down the dusty Christmas decoration boxes from the attic, Thomas and Suzanne Jerome have more to handle than most. The couple are no less than German world record holders, and for this year's 10th anniversary have ramped things up and set up a total of 444 trees, decorated head to toe with baubles and tinsel and lights. No 2 trees are the same, with a huge variety of festive colors and themes. More than 10,000 Christmas balls and 300 strings of fairy lights are used in this display. Well, in the United States, the slopes and lifts at the Sunday River Resort were packed with revelers sporting Santa's signature red suit and white trim. Amid the merriment of 232 skiers and snowboarders in Santa suits was one skier who opted to wear the green Grinch costume, inspired by the Dr. Seuss book, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This is the 21st annual Santa's Sunday.
You're like breezing down the mountain and you could feel the snow going across your face. And all the Santas look like red jelly beans.
I've been here for last 17 years participating in this event.
because it's the best way to start the season. And I also truly believe in mission for this event.
And its cheerful paddle boarders in Dublin as they took to the River Liffey dressed in Santa and other Christmas costumes, hoping to bring some seasonal joy to onlookers. The group dressed in red and white Santa outfits, donned reindeer costumes and decorated their paddle boards with lights and inflatable figures, waving to people watching from dry land and ringing the Christmas bells.
To bring joy, to bring smiles, to bring laughter to everyone who's in the city centre today. Look, we've all had a rough year, we've all had a rough couple of years, and it's about time to have a bit of fun. So that's all we're doing, just bringing joy and laughter to everyone around.
Yeah, I think it's just about just bringing a little bit of joy and a little bit of festivity in particularly challenging times that we've all had. So it brings us all together, the sub community. So it's just a nice excuse to kind of meet each other. We haven't seen each other in a little while, and then just bring a bit of Christmas cheer to Dublin.
In London, the city's been lit up as the Christmas season begins, with its landmarks wreathed in sparkling decorations. In Trafalgar Square, the Christmas tree sent to the UK by Norway as an annual gift following British support for Norway during the World War II takes centre stage next to a nativity scene. London's shopping districts celebrate with themes including illuminated angels and butterflies, while more modern lights are seen outside Wembley Stadium and on London's cultural hub, the South Bank. Christmas lights also bring some welcome cheer to Prague as the Czech Republic capital's landmarks shone under a warm glow. The Lithuanian capital, Vilnius, has made a glittering sculpture of a Christmas tree next to the city's cathedral, the centerpiece of its festive decorations. Hundreds of people gathered in front of Milan's Duomo Cathedral to watch as 80,000 LED lights wrapped around the city's Christmas tree were switched on. The 24-meter fir tree, dubbed Imagine, was decorated with 800 red and silver Christmas balls and 60 bows. The beams of light at the base of the tree shoot up to the sky, highlighting the centrality of Piazza Duomo, making one of the city's most iconic tourist attractions even more spectacular. The tree is up and the stalls are open in the picturesque Belgian town of Bruges for the annual Christmas market, one of the many places in Europe which lays claim to the title Venice of the North. The town is a tourist site famed for its medieval buildings arranged around a network of canals and cobbled streets. In Japan, Tokyo welcomes Christmas with sparkling lights display, while Hong Kong is decked out with dazzling lights and colorful Christmas decorations for the holiday season. Hundreds of curious onlookers visited Las Canteras beach to watch the nativity scene sculpted by international artists in Spain's Gran Canaria. 8 artists from different countries finished the nativity scenes after a week on the island. Artists have been coming from all over the world since 2006 to take part in the event to mark the start of the Christmas season. And finally, at the birthplace of Jesus, residents lit up a giant Christmas tree outside the Church of the Nativity. The giant tree, topped with a bright red star, was lit up with hundreds of colored lights as red, white and green fireworks illuminated the night sky. Well, this is where we say goodbye till next time. But remember, our top stories are never far away. You can catch them on channelstv.com. Thank you so much for watching the program. I'm Layo Adegoke. Stay safe.